Welcome, fellow bookworms, to Tibra's Den. My name is Whitney, and today I have another Series Saturday for you. We are going to be talking about Turncoat and Changes, which are both part of the Dresden Files. You have book 11 and book 12, and of course these are by Jim Butcher. So we are going to be talking about these guys, both two very sides of the coin as far as what I felt about them. And so yeah, I'm really excited to dive in. As always though, before I do, if you could go ahead and remember to give this video a like, it really does help out the channel. And don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell notification so you don't miss out on a thing. We're kind of getting closer to the tail end of the Dresden Files. We have 5 more books. The last 2 are the most recent releases, of course, and they kind of go together very closely from what I've been told. And so yeah, I'm really excited to kind of get to the tail end of the series. But first, of course, we're going to be talking about these. So, like I said, I had two very different emotions. Turncoat, I struggled. I struggled to get through this one. It was really difficult for me. I kind of felt like the series was turning around. I did kind of get burnt out about book 6 or so, and then I felt like it was started kind of pick up and turn around again. And then this one hit, and yeah, this one was rough. So if you're not familiar with the Dresden Files, I'm not going to give away too many big spoilers, but there might be some slight spoilers for the beginning of the series, of course, since we are later in the series. But basically, it follows Harry, who is a private investigator wizard in the city of Chicago. He works with the police often, and then there's also like a white council of wizards, and then there's these vampires which have 3 different courts, and he just takes on all these big bads, and so that's kind of the overall premise, is the different cases he's worked on and the different like bad guys he's taken on, essentially. So this one, the moment the kind of characters that were involved were introduced, I knew exactly who it was. And I really struggled. I just felt it was really predictable. It was very similar to his other ones, which was kind of why I got burnt out a little bit, was because they were just kind of getting a little bit repetitive. Yeah, the cases or the bad guys were different, but the layout of how he battled them and such were kind of getting a little bit repetitive, and it just wasn't as enjoyable for me. And this one, like I said, it went right back to that. We got a little bit of a continuation on to like the deeper plot line that's throughout the series, but it was at the very end, and it was just a brief little conversation he had, so it didn't even have that going for it. And like I said, I predicted exactly who the bad guys were right away. So like I said, this one wasn't my favorite. It took me 3 long days to get through. And generally I read the bulk of the book in one day, and then I just have a couple hours on the second day that I need to finish off the books. So this one, like I said, it was 3 days, and it was reading it for most of the day as well on those 3 days. And so I really had to push myself to get through this. Like, I wasn't that intrigued because I knew who was involved and everything. The only thing I didn't really have an idea of was how he was kind of gonna out the culprit. I will say I did like this one because Morgan and Harry have kind of been, which you're introduced to Morgan very early on, and he's kind of been in charge of Harry. Like, Harry's essentially on probation in the beginning of the books, and Morgan's the one that is assigned to him to make sure he doesn't do anything that he's not supposed to do, essentially. Which, if you're interested to know more, you just have to read the series. I'm not going to get into too much detail on that. But in this one, we see him and Morgan kind of come together, and even have a little bit, I mean, we've seen Harry kind of start to respect Morgan a little bit more, even though he still doesn't like him for obvious reasons. But in this one, you see that there's kind of this understanding between them, which was probably like the only enjoyable thing, was because that was a little bit different. because you have seen them at odds every step of the way. Even when working together, they're still at odds, and so that part was a little bit different. But other than that, like I said, completely predictable, very much like the books in the rest of the series as far as like how things kind of go. But I mean, there's a lot of books in this series. You're gonna have some duds, I feel like. So that was Turncoat, and then this one, like I said, Morgan ends up coming to Harry for help, and they're trying to kind of oust a traitor, essentially, kind of within the network, is what's going on in this one. So that is Turncoat. Now, let's talk about changes. So I have heard from multiple sources, my husband being one of them, that this is the best book in the series. My husband has been telling me about this, but he couldn't remember exactly which book it was. But he's been telling me about it since I started the series, and he's like, "Once you get to that one's so good." And he was right. So I went from my least favorite book in the series, Turncoat, to this one, and I could not put this down. I really wanted to stay up late last night and just finish it, but I just didn't have the energy to do that. I was really tired yesterday, so I ended up finishing this off this morning. And yeah, I really, really enjoyed this one. I didn't predict anything that was going on at all. And so in this one, Harry learns a little secret that he didn't know about and ends up. So we've had the war with the Red Court of Vampires going on, and the Red Court comes to light and comes to play in this one in a very major way. There's kind of something going on with the White Council too, which is very suspicious. And that wasn't really addressed. Like it kind of came up in the beginning of the book, and then it never got fully addressed. There was a little bit of conversation about it, but it never fully got addressed. The only thing I will say is there's one instance where somebody close to Harry seems to have betrayed him, and that never got addressed either. So that's the only thing. I just finished this like maybe an hour ago before hopping on to film, and that is the only thing that's still in my mind. Like, what happened there? He did not tie off that little part at all, and you don't understand what happened. So that's a little bit frustrating to me, but I mean, just turn after turn, like things happening, and I'm just like, because these books are very, I think it's called Nor or whatever, and so all these bad things happen, but Harry always managed to pull something out of his hat, right? And time after time, like things just aren't going in Harry's favor. And major things happen in this book, and I was just like, what is happening? So yeah, this one definitely took me by surprise. The things that happened I didn't really expect at all, and it just all kind of falls apart in this one. Which I think I like that because it's like, sometimes like things don't always work out perfectly or anything like that. So this one, like I said, so good. We have some return characters that were in earlier books that we haven't seen for a while, and something that I've been hoping would happen for the last couple books finally did. Um, and so yeah, I think, and the way this one ended, definite cliffhanger. And so my husband has already kind of spoiled what kind of goes on in the next few books. Um, which I don't mind because for me it's kind of the journey of the book and how they got to that point. So spoilers often make me more excited to read the book because I want to see how it got to that point. But the next one is called Ghost Story, and then you have Cold Days, and then I think it's Skin Game if I'm recalling right. And so I read the little blurbs at the back of the book because they have little blurbs, which I can't give to you because it'll give stuff away. But yeah, I'm really, really excited for the next few books because it just kind of refreshed my excitement. Like I said, it kind of turned around a little bit for me there for a while, and so I was getting more excited again until I hit Turncoat. But now I'm like, I need to dive in. Left it on a cliffhanger. There's just so many questions I have, and there's a lot of things that are left unresolved in this one. Um, so I'm so excited to jump in the next one, which I'm not gonna be able to do till next month, so July, because I got a little behind on my reading this month, because I ended up going on a series binge, for the Tiger's Curse Saga by Colleen Hoke, and so I'm playing catch up now. Otherwise, with the way this one ended, I would totally jump in to the next one right away, but next month is gonna have to be soon enough. So if you're reading the Dresden Files and you do kind of feel it taking that slow turn like I did, it gets better for sure. It gets way better, and you definitely want to read Turncoat as well, even though it's slow. Like I know some people will skip ahead in series if they don't like, if they haven't heard good things about a specific book. But there are some things that happen in this one that are important, and if you just jumped ahead to this one, you'd be like, well, what's going on there? So um, as much as I didn't enjoy this book, there were a couple of things that happened that were very important, and it affects the White Council, affects the White Court of Vampires, and such. So, this one, like I said, is important to read, even though I didn't find it enjoyable. And then this one is just absolutely amazing. Um, Definitely the best in the series for sure. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave you guys here. If you've read the Dresden Files and you've read up to the point I'm at, like I said, we have book 11 and then 12. Definitely let me know your thoughts. And if you read, the rest of the series, let me know. Are the rest of the books to kind of backslide again, or do you think they hold up as well? I've heard good things about the last two, and I have heard that you need to read them like back to back to get the most out of them, which I've been reading them pretty much back to back anyway, so that's not a problem. So, but yeah, don't leave any spoilers or anything down in the comments. Just kind of like give me your impression, for sure. But I'll go ahead and leave you guys here. Happy reading, everyone. Bye.